Good evening, and thanks so much for making time for this. You've heard a lot from Prof and Doc, as well as Mom as well. It's a privilege to be here. You know, when your school prefect summons you to come for his program, who are you? Daniel and I, we go way back from junior high school, and solid guy, a very deep guy. I respect him so much. So I had no choice but to come here. And I'm also privileged to have my friend teacher back in GHS, who is here to grace this occasion. Mrs. Kumao, it's a pleasure to see you. And I'm sure, I've not seen my wife, but I'm sure my wife is here. Mrs. Sata, if you're here, if you could just give me a wave. Okay, sure. So this evening, my objective is really cut out for me. The first two speakers took us through medicine, and I was a bit uncomfortable. Thankfully, I got my fellow banker coming around to actually break the ice for me as well. So it's a difficult task for me, but I'll try to condense 18 years of experience within a space of 20 minutes. I'm told now it's 15 minutes, but I'll try. It's not just about the experience per se, but it's about the nuggets or the lessons that along the way I took on as I journeyed on. So it started in 2005. In 2005, I started with a company called Fidelity Capital Partners. And this slide, I want to call it Begin Right. You need to begin right when you start in your career. In 2005, prior to even Fidelity Capital Partners, I was with a firm in Tema that was doing logistics. I did it for a month, and I resigned. I resigned because, like Daniel would say, I didn't see it in my dream. Because essentially what I was doing, I realized that I was not learning. In life, it is important to learn. People say you either learn or you earn. Either way is good. But if you are not learning, especially in your formative years, you need to take a decision. I need to move on. So I moved on from the firm, and I came to Fidelity Capital Partners. But it's very important, as I said, that you begin right. And what do I mean by begin right? You need to have the right kind of environment to shape your career, the right exposure, the right work ethic, the right culture, even the right grooming, the right boss and a mentor that could mentor you. It's very, very important. It's not about the name of the organization that you work in. It's not about the reputation of the organization. It helps, that's okay. But it's about the role that you play in that organization. You need to prioritize that role because it's very, very important. So Fidelity Capital Partners was just a small private equity firm made up of about 9 professionals, highly professional people, good work environment, dedicated professionals, committed. The key things that I learned from that experience was the exposure that I received, the mentorship that I received. I was fortunate to have the Coopers and Lybrand. Now it's no longer Coopers and Lybrand, it's PricewaterhouseCoopers. As a manager who literally took me by the hand and taught me everything accounting that I know now. As a young, fresh graduate, I was fortunate to actually go for meetings with these senior people because we're just few in the organization. So I was just fortunate to go for meetings. I was given the opportunity to even coordinate investment seminars. And indeed, I realized that my confidence really grew from there. So what I'm trying to say is that it's very important how you start. Once you have a dream, you follow your dream. if where you are is not helping you to learn. I think my previous speakers have talked about learning, and earning. It's always important that you learn before you earn. Your formative years, they determine the habits that you pick up along the way. So it's very critical that you actually thrive in an environment that will shape your life professionally. So what are the key takeaways? It is not enough to work in a big organization or a reputable company. That's fair, it's okay, but it goes beyond that. You need to prioritize your role in that organization. And then you must learn before you earn, especially in your formative years. And then if you have the opportunity to identify a mentor, I would urge you that right at the beginning of your career, look out for a mentor. 2006, I moved to Fidelity Bank, and I call this slide discipline through consistent persistence. Discipline through consistent persistence. There's a proverb that says that not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but the one who caught it chased it. Did you get it? Not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but the one who caught it chased it. It's about persistence. It's about persistence. Doc mentioned this quote from Henry Longfellow, and that's one of the favorite quotes my dad used to tell us, that the heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by a sudden flight. But they, whilst they slept, they were toiling upwards in the night. It talks about discipline. You know, sometimes people just dream about success. They dream about success, but they didn't do anything about it. But do you know what dreams are? Dreams are not what you see whilst you sleep. No. They are not what you see whilst you sleep. They are those that will keep you awake. Those that will build that passion within you. That I can't just sleep on this. I need to get up and work with it. So it's very important that you are disciplined and you are consistent in your dealings and you are persistent as well. And I'll tell you how I got into Fidelity Bank. It wasn't just by a snap of the finger. After service, I was done with national service and I didn't have a job. But I didn't want to stay home as well. So what I said was, you know what, I will still go back to where I did my national service. Even if it's for free, I will stay there. Because I had another motive. I wanted my managing partner to see me every day. To go to his office, greet him. So I go there in the morning. Good morning, Mr. Nchiasemen. Hope you have a good day. And I go back to my office. Anytime there's the need for me to go sign a document, I'm more than happy to go there. Because anytime that I see him, I smile, and he knows why I'm smiling, because I needed a job. So I was persistent. Morning, I go in there, greet him. In the evening, before I check out, I go say, have a good evening. I'm still waiting upon you, consistently. So one of the days, he just said, you know what, hop into my car, let's go to Fidelity Bank. And that's how come I got into Fidelity Bank. And it was in Fidelity Bank that I decided to pursue my professional qualification, ACCA. I started Fidelity Bank as a contract staff for 4 months. It was difficult, but I still persisted, and I said I wanted to do ACCA. At the time, ACCA was very expensive. You know, ACCA, they pay pounds, unlike ICAG. It was very difficult. With my contract salary, I said the time to start was now. Again, the environment was a bit difficult because I had just moved from an investment banking firm to a commercial banking. And the learning curve was very steep, so it was a bit difficult. But I said I needed to do this. So what I did was every day when I get to work, I try, at the time I was not married, so of course no stakeholders. Every day I get to the office at 6 o'clock. I wouldn't go and sit behind my desk. I'll go to the kitchenette. 6 to 8, I will learn my professional course. I didn't want to go to my desk because there were so many distractions. You go there, 6:30, 7 o'clock, people are trooping in. You have friends coming to talk to you about Champions League. Oh, did you watch the match? And right from 6:30 to 8, nothing really important. So what I told myself was, I would study at the kitchenette, and that I did consistently for 2.5 years. Every evening after work, 5:36, I check out, go to the kitchenette, and do another 2 hours consistently. And I also told myself that I will not miss any sitting. That's the consistency. The consistency. I will not miss any sitting. I had colleagues, I had friends who would do a paper in June and then go and leave in December. Come back June and go in December. But I told myself that consistently I will attempt writing 2 papers. At least at the time, that was what my resources could afford, to do 2 papers at a time. And I did that for 2.5 years, and God being so good, within 2.5 years, I qualified as a chartered accountant. Okay, so what are the takeaways? It's about persistence. I got this from Les Brown, an American motivator, who said, when you hang around a barber shop long enough, sooner or later, you'll get a haircut. There would always be that breakthrough. There will always be that breakthrough. Okay? And then this was authored by yours truly, that says that success comes with a deliberate consistency in the pursuit of your dreams. It's about being deliberate and being consistent about it. Fast forward. In 2009, I joined EcoBank from Fidelity Bank. EcoBank Capital, that was the investment banking group for the EcoBank Group. I joined in 2009. Let me just talk about the education beyond certificates first. It's interesting how now, gradually, recruiters are not asking for certificates when they are interviewing. At least at the beginning, they don't ask for it. Ever wondered why? Because the paradigm is changing. Adams Grant, one of the American psychologists, said that nowadays going to college or graduating from college or university is a poor proxy to determine knowledge and skill. It's not just about the certificates, it goes beyond the certificates. Graduating from college or degree doesn't reveal character, it doesn't reveal motivation. Okay, so you could be highly qualified, but it goes beyond that. So I remember one of the days when I joined fresh as a corporate finance analyst, I was told to do a presentation. Normally that's the culture there, where you would present to the team of your initial experiences, your impression about the firm, and the things that you like about the firm and what you don't like about the firm. I did that. I think I did my best. And after the presentation, I got this rousing applause. I was quite surprised. And you could see the HR manager pulling her eyelid towards the country manager, as if she was trying to tell him, I told you so. So I was a bit surprised. So later on, I walked into her office, and he said, you know what, sit. Truth be told, when we were interviewing you, you never came up tops. You were not the best candidate in terms of qualification, in terms of work experience. It wasn't you. But I looked beyond that. I looked at your level of confidence, and I looked at your leadership abilities, and I realized that you had so much potential beyond just the technical. And that is the power of soft skills. Soft skills is very, very important. What leadership abilities are you exhibiting? How creative are you? How proactive are you? Beyond the certificates, how proactive are you? I didn't go to Prempeh College, but at least I went to the school that established Prempeh College. I went to infant pim school. And in infant pim school, there are so many rules, but there's one rule that stands out. That will tell you that a breach of common sense is a breach of school rule. That is soft skill. In the Ghanaian parlance, they will tell you that there is school nyansa and there's a fear nyansa. School nyansa is your certificate, but your leadership ability, your creativity, your proactiveness is that soft skill. So it's very, very important. You can be educated, but without these soft skills, you'll be found wanting. Fast forward, I did 2 years doing corporate finance at EcoBank, and then because of my background, I moved to financial control within EcoBank. That was at the tail end of December 2010, around November. But I regretted the switch. And I'll tell you why. It was very stressful. Being in financial control in a multinational environment, dealing with over 16 affiliates, more so getting to the end of the year. And I remember 31st December 2010 so vividly, because when the clock struck 12, I was in the office. I was angry, I was sad, I was disappointed. And I was asking myself, why did I make that switch? November 2010, December, I missed my first time me missing 31st watch night service. I was so disappointed. And I was so down, my wife could testify that. 3 months down the line, I get a call. The gentleman on the other side says, "Hi, Ciici, how are you?" I said, "I'm good." "I learned you are in EcoBank. Which department are you in?" I said, "Financial control." He said, "Voila, it's you I need." What am I saying? Sometimes things come your way and you think that you probably made the wrong step. Okay, if you could go back. Things come your way and you think probably you missed it. It was a bad decision. But sometimes it is God who's actually behind it, moving those cards, playing the chess on your behalf. So never ever discount the God factor. I moved to EcoBank, to financial control within EcoBank within 2-3 months. And what the person needed was the fact that I was working in financial control. I had done corporate finance for 2.5 years. I moved to financial control for 3 months. And the gentleman said, "There's a position for financial control at ADB. Am I interested?" You can clearly see EcoBank, ADB on the slide. So clearly, you know my answer. Very much interested. So in 2011, I moved to ADB, and I was the financial controller for ADB. ADB was huge. I remember the HR said, "Ciici, can you do it? ADB is not EcoBank. ADB is a big animal. Can you handle it?" I was scared, because you know what? I became financial controller for ADB at the age of 29. And I was supposed to man a team of about 24, 25. Indeed, I've seen some of my colleagues here. I was supposed to man a team of about 24, 25. And let me put color to it. I was the third youngest in the department. And I was supposed to lead the team. It was difficult. But I soon realized that there's something about leadership. It's not being about overpowering, it's about empowering. It's about showing empathy, it's about listening. The last speaker talked about humility. It's about humility. Now, these were professionals who knew their stuff, highly qualified. They were qualified, chartered accountant, EMB. At the time, I had only ACC, and I was going to lead a team of people who were qualified and had masters in addition. But it was about leadership. It was about a soft skill. I realized that it's not always about the number of years you worked. It's about what you've done within the number of years that you worked. So I realized that I wasn't too bad. And I remember, I have the financial controller for ADB here. I remember back then, she approached me early days and told me she needed a fix on something. That was early days. And I was able to help her. I think we're doing some bonus calculation, and I was able to quickly resolve that for her. And I earned her respect, and she started actually admiring me. And the respect was actually mutual. I extended that respect. So in leadership, it's about extending respect to earn the respect. And leadership is not about age. It's never about age. It's about your experience and your exposure. So that was ADB. And in 2016, I quickly moved to, I'll round up in a bit. In 2016, I moved to Sovereign Bank. I was the CFO for SWAL Sovereign Bank. When I said Sovereign Bank, I'm sure people were wondering which bank was that. Yes, it existed. It just existed for 2.5 years. I moved to Sovereign Bank. And here, I just want us to talk about values, because I learned so much about values at Sovereign Bank, about integrity. That's my hallmark. One guy said, if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. If you have integrity, again, nothing else matters. It's all about integrity. And Warren Buffett put it this way, that look for 3 things in a man or a woman: intelligence, passion, energy, and then integrity. If they don't have the last one, which is integrity, forget about the other 2. It's about having values. The question I ask is, do you have values that you work with? Do you have values that shape your decision? Sovereign Bank lasted for just 2.5 years, and it got folded up. Had so many challenges. BOG was after you, FIT was after you, Yoko. But in all that, I was very calm, because I knew that I worked with values and I worked with principles. And that's what I want to admonish you, that in all your dealings, have values. Work with those values, and you would be fine. Lastly, I moved to CBG, and basically you get to know that this will probably be my last slide, because I'm currently with CBG and as the financial controller. CBG, if you could just go back for me. I call it the gifts of tough times. And I know I have a lot of colleagues here who are with me at CBG and know how CBG was birthed. The year was 2018, the month was August, the day was 1st August. It was a Wednesday, and a Black Wednesday for that matter. On that day, we all lost our jobs. It was tough. I remember getting home after 12 midnight, and I told my wife, if I had my own way, I would never return to the work environment, because it was stressful. It was difficult. Laptops were seized. They wanted to check whether there were any transactions. Bank accounts were frozen for a while. Cars were almost seized. Your duty post cars were almost seized. But in all, we traveled. We traveled because you've come to realize that in life, sometimes life happens. That's why Paul will tell you that he's known how to abound and how to abase. Sometimes you are quick to go to the verse 13 that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But the preceding verse tells you that sometimes you must learn how to abound and how to abase. This was the time that I had to abase. And there's this hymn that always resonates with me when I when I remember my early days at CBG. It's a Methodist hymn that says, Father, I know that all my life is portion out for me. And the changes, there will always be changes. Change is the only constant. The changes that are sure to come, I do not fear to see. But I ask thee for a present mind, intent on pleasing thee. And that was what was carrying me all along. Fast forward, we lost our jobs. We were given 2 months contracts. We were asked to reapply for the jobs. I remember one Sunday, I had to go and do aptitude test at the banking college. A CFO. We were all marched to the banking college to go and write aptitude tests. Indeed, some of them opted out because of their ego. But I had a family to feed. And I was humble enough. I was humble enough to go through the exams. And by God's grace, I passed. I still remembered my maths and my English. And I passed. And I applied for the role of financial controller. And God being so good, I got the nod for financial controller. And I always say that there is always a silver lining in every cloud. There may be difficulties, but look for the opportunities within the difficulties. I was a CFO for a small bank, but I became the financial controller for a bank that was made up of 7 banks combined. So you cannot compare the two. I was CFO for a bank that had only 2 branches. I became the FC for a bank that has branches in excess of 114. And that's how life is. You must learn that sometimes life happens and that every cloud has that silver lining. As I round up, the key takeaways that I want to share with you. The value of agility. The last speaker talked about resilience and agility. The world is moving very fast. You need to be agile. The ease with which you learn, you continue to learn, and to unlearn and relearn is very important. The value of values. Have values. Let your values shape your decisions and your activities. The value of discipline is very important. The value of relationships. And I'll tell you that my appointment at ADB, my appointment as sovereign, was through relationships. It was never just by certificate. It was a human element. Somebody called, invest in networking. You've met new people, connect. Let's engage. It's very important. The value of the soft skill, the value of choices. We are where we are based on decisions that we made in the past. And wherever you want to go will be based on decisions that you make from now. The value of resilience. She's talked about it. And lastly, the God factor. Thank you very much.